It's time to put the good in your morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, a Kansas team kills a world record buck.
It's going to be perfect hunting weather. I'll tell you what, as to your holiday plan, you are in luck as we are now on the first day of winter. All the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And how to deal with depression during the winter. That and more coming up. The KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bob. Congress closes a deal on a $900 billion COVID economic relief package. The agreement includes $300 a week in extended unemployment benefits and for many Americans a stimulus check of $600. There are also new subsidies for hard-hit businesses and funding for schools, healthcare providers, and renters facing eviction. Parsons Police Department is on the lookout for a hit-and-run suspect after a victim was seriously injured. Police got a call at 4:40 Saturday morning that pointed them to a ditch near 35th and Southern Avenue where 18-year-old Andrew Scott was suffering from multiple injuries after being hit by an unknown vehicle. Scott was life-flighted to Freeman Hospital in Joplin. Parsons Police Chief Robert Spink says there are possible suspects in this case who are withholding what they know in hopes of financial gain from Scott's injuries. He's asking anyone with information regarding this case to please come forward. A Southwest City, Missouri man is dead after a crash Friday night in Mays County. Oklahoma Highway Patrol says the crash happened just before midnight on State Highway 20, about 3 miles east of Spavinaw, Oklahoma. 57-year-old Domingo Menes was driving west when he failed to negotiate a curve and went off the road and hit a tree. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Authorities say Nennis had an odor of alcohol and was driving too fast. His passenger was life-flighted to St. John Hospital in Tulsa and admitted in stable condition with a head injury. Oklahoma investigators say they want to expand the search for bodies of victims in the Tulsa race massacre. The state archaeologist confirmed investigators believe more than 30 sets of remains may be buried at the Oaklawn Cemetery. She says they want to search an area that's almost 5 times the size of the trench dug in October. Pittsburg State University held its annual Wreaths Across America dedication ceremony on Saturday, although the pandemic did alter the way it looked this year. Attendance for the event was condensed down to a small size with masks required. Typically, they see around 50 to 100 people in attendance for this event. ROTC Captain Eric Leon gave a speech, and representatives of each branch of the military hung wreaths at the PSU Veterans Memorial. Dedication is different from Memorial and Veterans Day. Captain Leon says it's more of a teaching moment to the public and younger generations, the sacrifices of veterans who gave their lives and those still serving.
It's really, the importance behind it is to teach the younger generation. So, I mean, my son is here, he's listening, my little daughter's here as well. For them to experience and to understand what it is to sacrifice for this nation, right? What it is to see a person in uniform, and what exactly do they do, you know, the sacrifices they give.
Ceremony has also been recorded and posted on PSU's Facebook page to allow more people to view the dedication. Kansas team breaks the world record for largest non-typical whitetail, Kansas teen, excuse me. For the largest non-typical whitetail ever shot by a female. 14-year-old Palsy Worth of Cimarron, Kansas. Ah, that's back near my hometown. Paisley? Okay, that's spelled wrong there. All right, she nabbed a 42-point buck. The antler scored 283 inches with a circumference of 7.5 inches. The Boone and Crockett score deemed the buck the biggest non-typical whitetail shot in the entire world.
Such a unique and great story. And I'm so happy that that's certified now, because we've been waiting a long time for her to get certified with this score. She actually shot it back in September, but she had the 60-day, boom, TV magic. It's not a trick, it's an illusion. She had to wait the 60-day waiting period. She actually got it back in mid-September. And what's even cooler about the story is, because like I said, I've been reading about this since September. It's been on her land for years, but this buck. Her sister passed on it 2 years ago.
She passed on it?
Passed on it. Her dad had it last year. He passed on it. Yeah. 14 years old, right place, right time. Yeah, congratulations to her. That is absolutely something else. And like I said, I'm so glad that she had to wait. She had to wait 2 months to get that thing certified after the season was over. She got that.
There's a lot of pretty whitetail buck out there in western Kansas in that area. So
non-whitetail.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
This was non-whitetail.
Non-white.
So this was a mule deer then.
This is
This was a mule deer then.
And I just think it's really neat that both her older sister, it's her older sister, and her dad both passed up shots past 2 years on it, and she ended up getting it. So congratulations to Paisley. Just a tremendous story right there. Gorgeous start for our first day of winter. We had the winter solstice at 4:02 Central Standard Time and a clean Skywatch storm tracker with a big high pressure system hanging over the Midwest. Freeman Health System sky camera. Hard to believe we're talking about the first day of winter and temperatures already sitting at 42 degrees, 41 in Carthage, 38 in Fort Scott. It's been a little bit cooler out to the west, 35 and 36 in Neodesha and Independence respectively. We are going to see a shift in the wind that's going to help us warm up, eventually moving in from the southwest. Not too blustery, probably about 15 miles per hour a little bit later on. But for the time being, no worries for us. Later on this week, we'll watch out to the west of the Rockies. But like I said, don't worry about it on Monday and Tuesday, as we're going to cruise up into the high 50s today, even the low 60s on Tuesday. So yeah, certainly not a taste of winter as far as the solstice being upon us. Now, things will change by the time we get to Wednesday, because we'll start off pretty warm on Wednesday, but then we'll get the development out to the west. The cold front will drop in. We're hoping this just stays as rain for Wednesday night and a Thursday morning, and even any snow showers we do see, hopefully that ground's warm enough to not affect a chilly Christmas Eve, but I know a lot of people are going to be traveling as well. Tanya?
Up next, how to handle seasonal affective disorder this winter.
And Jupiter and Saturn are hanging out tonight. We got the details on that and more. The KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back after this.
Every winter, millions of Americans struggle with seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD. But this year, in the midst of a global pandemic, mental health advocates worry seasonal depression could take a harsher toll. Naomi Ruckham explains the risk and how to deal with the disorder during this especially dark winter.
Gabrielle Starr was diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder in her late teens.
When I didn't have to go to class in college, I was just like in my bed. I wasn't working out. Like, I would eat at really weird hours. I wasn't sleeping well.
Her symptoms of depression escalate as the season starts to change.
The first month, literally, of daylight savings time being over, my body is totally out of whack.
Doctors are concerned with the pandemic already impacting mental health. Seasonal affective disorder could mean an even darker winter than usual for many. Dr. Craig Sawchuk is a clinical psychologist at Mayo Clinic.
It makes it easier to forge through difficult times when you have a reliable light at the end of the tunnel. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, that light keeps getting pushed further back.
Add unemployment or a sick family member to the mix, and that could make even more people vulnerable to seasonal depression.
You may have folks operating at a little bit more of a deficit, heading into this time of year because of social distancing and really doing the right things from a public health standpoint, but they may already be in more of an isolation kind of mode.
Experts say staying active can help, maintaining a healthy diet, treating with therapy and medication, and finding a good source of light, getting outside, or investing in a special lamp. Gabrielle takes vitamin D, meditates, and practices yoga.
It makes a huge difference in my day. It's sometimes really hard to force myself to do it, but I always feel better.
She also uses an alarm clock that mimics the rising sun. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
To get through the season, experts recommend sticking to a routine as much as possible and connecting with loved ones through video chat until the pandemic is over. Well, Jupiter and Saturn will be almost aligned Monday night in a rare celestial phenomenon known as a great conjunction. Two planets are so close they look almost like one planet from Earth, an image not seen in almost 400 years, with only 6 arc minutes of sky separating them. The cosmic event, also called the Christmas star because of its holiday time appearance. Some astronomers speculate the New Testament story of the three kings who traveled to honor Jesus' birth could have witnessed such a conjunction to help lead them to Bethlehem.
Last night, best shot was about an hour after sunset. I say between 6 and 7. Don't get frustrated if you go out even around 5:30, 5:45. There's still too much twilight left to pick it up. But once that sky really begins to get dark, about 6 to 7, find a moon and go bottom right. And you can't miss, like I said, with the naked eye, you can't miss it. With binoculars, you were able to see the moons of the planets last night.
So last night, could you see a space between the two planets still?
Yeah, barely. It was interesting because the space barely discernible with the naked eye, but with the binoculars, yeah, you could clearly pick it up. And then looking for the illumination to see how bright it is tonight will be extremely interesting. Once again, best times are really going to be between 6 and 7 tonight. Now, with this being our first day of winter, this is curious right here. 46 degrees is where we normally top out. Well, we already registered for 47 at Joplin Regional Airport. Now, the temperatures have been dropping a little bit. Not anything to worry about. We're not in the middle of a massive cold front or anything. We just kind of had to stabilize before we rebound for the afternoon hours, down to 42 in Joplin, 35 in Parsons, and 39 in Nevada. Going to get helped by a little shift in the wind that'll move in from the southwest. 15 miles per hour. Not going to be one of those abnormally blustery days in an extremely clear Skywatch storm tracker. It's going to make for that perfect night for some planetary watching for those of you that are interested in that. All the way up into the high 50s, if not even some low 60s here later on this afternoon. And as Future Track will show, we stay clear and dry all the way into Tuesday. On Tuesday, we'll be throwing up some 60s, but we know we've got developments coming on Wednesday, and so what we'll see is everything out here to the west, and then watch the cold front move in as well, hoping to keep the majority of this as rain for late Wednesday into early Thursday. Now, I do see a little snow try to squeeze out right there, but you have to remember our ground's going to be pretty warm coming off of not only what we had over the weekend, but the beginning of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well. But that's what we'll keep our eyes on, is going to be Thursday's travel concerns and a chilly yet sunny Christmas Day. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. You can do your part to help out local families this holiday season with tonight's Feed the Four States Telethon. During our 9 o'clock Fox broadcast, you'll be able to call in and make a donation in support of local food pantries, helping keep someone in need fed this holiday season. Rodney Rambo with Crosslines Ministries will be a part of our broadcast to discuss the need this weekend once again. That's tonight during our 9 p.m. Fox telecast. Now, it may be called the most wonderful time of the year, but in the midst of a pandemic, doctors worry this could end up being a truly dangerous time of the year. As Britt Conway shows us, they're urging you to stay home for the holidays.
We actually do have a light at the end of this very long and dark tunnel.
But getting there without losing more and more people depends on what we do now.
That means each and every one of you doing your part while we do our part at the federal level.
U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams says you can start by taking a long, hard look at your holiday plans.
The safest way to spend the holiday this year is with the immediate members of your household.
Dr. Anthony Fauci agrees.
Nobody wants to modify, if not essentially shut down, their holiday season, but we are in a very critical time in this country right now.
Even with 2 COVID-19 vaccines authorized, the virus continues to ravage the country. Both doctors say we need to remain vigilant.
We've got to not walk away from the facts and the data. This is tough going for all of us.
We want to get as many people as possible to Easter, to Memorial Day next year, to the 4th of July.
Dr. Adams knows not everyone will listen. If that's the case, he says testing needs to be a priority.
If you gather with people outside of your household, especially without a mask, then we recommend that you get tested 4 to 5 days after that gathering.
Get tested before you travel, too. And there are a number of other safety tips on cdc.gov.
Being outside, good ventilation, making sure there's plenty of hand sanitizer.
All with the hope that this time next year, we'll have one more reason to celebrate.
Together, we're going to get through this.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
And our question for you on the KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Instapoll is simple as, are you traveling for the holidays? We'll begin our comments with Kathy Wadino. Kathy, So Kaylee says no, staying home. Forgive me if I flip through some of these. We got them during the KOM show. JJ Gittner says traveling all 3 blocks to my sister and brother-in-law's house and mooching a Christmas dinner off them. Well played, JJ. Merry Christmas to all and a Merry Christmas to you. Sherry Logan Wheeler says, well, if going to see Mom in Butler, then I guess we are traveling, but it's a day trip. Merry Christmas to all at KOM. Merry Christmas, Miss Sherry. And May Carden Collins says, stay home, stay safe. We did everything to keep from getting it. We all got a mild case. She says it's very contagious. Right now, we've got 86% of you saying no, you're not traveling. So on our Insta poll, make your voice heard. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote. Be right back after this.
Not everyone has an easy time making sure there are presents under the tree. And we bring in our own Jesse Irwin to tell us what the holidays are looking like this year for the families at Watered Garden Ministries.
Yeah, well, Tanya, in June, Watered Gardens opened the Washington Family Hope Center, a shelter specifically for mothers and their children to get back on their feet. With 6 family units and 30 beds in total, families can safely live together in the facility with access to laundry, food, and even a library for kids to grow their reading skills. And at the same time, everything is earned by those living at the center. Director Matt Engel tells us that everyday tasks and chores provide not only the opportunity to earn that experience, but also dignity. We spoke with one of the residents who tells us what it means to call a place like the center home.
Amazing. Really, I would say that I'm blessed. I had the opportunity to have a place where I can live with my son. I would say it's a safe place, and in a prayer atmosphere, it's good.
Well, Marcella and her son Akil are looking forward to celebrating the holidays with the staff members and community volunteers who they've grown a strong connection to. And coming up in a little bit, we're going to learn more about how the mother-son duo ended up at the Washington Family Hope Center. And we'll also hear about the efforts of a Webb City church and how those resulted in a special opportunity for those families and how the mothers earned that opportunity for their family.
All right, thank you so much. We're looking forward to hearing.
Thanks,
well,
Tanya.
Saturday was National Wreaths Across America Day, and Pittsburg State University held its annual dedication ceremony, although it did look different this year due to the pandemic. KOAM's Caitlin Shive spoke with a couple of veterans in attendance and held the ceremony in high regard.
Each December, Wreaths Across America Day is observed as a way to remember, honor, and teach.
What distinguishes this over Memorial Day, which is, in memory of our veterans and so on, and then Veterans Day in honor of veterans who are still serving. It's really more of a teaching opportunity to the public and to the younger generations.
As part of the National Observance Day, Pittsburg State University held its own dedication ceremony at the Veterans Memorial. Captain Leon brought his own kids to attend.
My son is here, he's listening, my little daughter's here as well. For them to experience and to understand what it is to sacrifice for this nation, right? What it is to see a person in uniform, and what exactly do they do, the sacrifices they give.
The ceremony did look different this year. Typically it sees around 50 to 100 in attendance, but this year that was reduced to more than half because of the pandemic.
We actually do have our, awesome technology nowadays. It's not too much of a burden on us. I mean, it's actually at times even a benefit that we actually get to put this online. We reach a lot more people than we used to.
And although the pandemic may have changed the way the ceremony looked, it didn't change the meaning behind it. Richard Fulton represented the U.S. Air Force in the hanging of the wreaths, but he was also there to remember his friends he had lost.
I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to remember them in a public forum, and also to remember them in a private way by hanging the wreath.
The same goes for Ed Fox, who represented the Navy.
There's one of my good buddies, his name is on the wall down here, and Stephen Benefeld, and I think about him quite often. He was never recovered, so kind of gets you right here.
In Pittsburgh, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
The ceremony was also recorded and posted to Facebook to allow more people to take part virtually. It's time now to honor today's fourth state hero, Robert Jordan, a Sergeant E5 in the United States Army. He served in Iraq from 2003 to 2004 and then again from 2005 to 2006 before serving in Afghanistan from 2008 to 2009 and then again from 2011 to 2012. While serving, he earned the Army Achievement Medal, the Good Conduct Medal, and 5 Bronze Stars. A native of Neosho, Missouri, we salute you, Robert Jordan, our 4th state hero. KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Congress closes on a deal on a $900 billion COVID economic relief package. The agreement includes $300 a week in extended unemployment benefits, and for many Americans, a stimulus check of $600. There are also new subsidies for hard-hit businesses and funding for schools, healthcare providers, and renters facing eviction. Parsons Police Department is on the lookout for a hit-and-run suspect after a victim was seriously injured. Police got a call at 4:40 Saturday morning that pointed them to a ditch near 35th and Southern Avenue, where 18-year-old Andrew Scott was suffering from multiple injuries after being hit by an unknown vehicle. Scott was life-flighted to Freeman Hospital in Joplin. Parsons Police Chief Robert Spink says there are possible suspects in this case who are withholding what they know in hopes of financial gain from Scott's injuries. He's asking anyone with information regarding this case to please come forward. Oklahoma investigators say they want to expand the search for bodies of victims in the Tulsa race massacre. The state archaeologist confirmed investigators believe more than 30 sets of remains may be buried at the Oaklawn Cemetery. She says they want to search an area that's almost 5 times the size of the trench dug in October. Pittsburg State University held its annual Wreaths Across America dedication ceremony on Saturday, although the pandemic did alter the way it looked this year. Attendance for the event was condensed down to a small size with mask required. Typically, they see around 50 to 100 people in attendance for the event. ROTC Captain Eric Leon gave a speech, and representatives of each branch of the military hung wreaths at the PSU Veterans Memorial. The dedication is different from Memorial and Veterans Day. Captain Leon says it's more of a teaching moment to the public and younger generations of the sacrifices of veterans who gave their lives and those still serving. Well, a New York man is rescued after being stranded in his car for 10 hours under a pile of snow. 58-year-old Kevin Crayson was trapped in his vehicle after a snowplow buried his car under 4 feet of snow. Despite placing several 911 calls, police initially had difficulty locating Crayson. As a winter storm continued to rage through Binghamton, he came across a row of buried mailboxes. While digging the snow-covered grounds, he hit the windshield of a car and found Crayson inside. Crayson has been taken to a hospital where he is receiving treatment for hypothermia and frostbite. Whew, that'd be rough, that's for sure.
He was in the car and the snowplow came through?
Tough.
There's a lot more questions than there are answers to that story right there. That's, okay, that's a curious one. I'm glad he's okay, don't get me wrong.
4 feet of snow buried him. That's a lot of weight when you're trying to open a door, too.
That's a crazy one, just to think that he was sitting in his car when it happened. That's kind of what I'm just trying to get to the bottom of here. Beautiful skies outside for our first day of winter. So we have the winter solstice at about just after 4 o'clock this morning. So our weather almanac for December 21, we'd only see an average high of 46. Earlier, we already saw 47, and we're going to cruise past that. Now, in the meantime, we're seeing a little bit of a dip. We're down to 42 from the Freeman Health System sky camera there in Joplin, 36 in Pittsburg, 34 in Independence. Let's roll 41 in Carthage. Carthage and Joplin kind of been our warmest places of this Monday morning. Wind shifting, moving in from the southwest, about 15 miles per hour is what we'll see for the afternoon. Beautiful clear picture there on the Skywatch storm tracker. And nationally speaking, not a whole lot going on in the Midwest. As a matter of fact, first day for winter pretty much looking pretty clean for everybody. We're going to be able to make it up into the high 50s, if not low 60s later on. And for those of you interested in the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction tonight, best shot's going to be about an hour after sunset. Sunset is at 5:05, so really between that 6 and 7 o'clock hour. If you can find the moon, drop down to the right, you're going to get a great shot of the two planets coming as close as they've been in about 400 years. Future Track shows you we're going to be on the dry side not only for today, but by the time we get into Tuesday afternoon, we're going to be throwing up some 60s on the board. The cold front drops in on Wednesday, squeezes out some rain there throughout Wednesday into Thursday morning. Could see some snowflakes with it, but here's the thing. Hopefully that ground is warmed up enough where it doesn't stick and doesn't affect your Christmas Eve travel conditions. But that's what we'll be eyeballing here for the rest of the week. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. All prepare for Christmas. We also have what we call Notes to the North Pole. You know, leading up to the big day, we wanted to hear from all the four-state boys and girls about not only what was on their wish list, but also too, you know, if they had the opportunity and they could ask Santa a question, what they'd like to know. Well, I'll tell you what, the questions were so good. You did the journalist's job for me. Your kids' questions were so good that thanks to our friends at the Christmas shop, we were able to bring in a special guest to help answer those questions and go through your list. Joining us direct from the North Pole, I'd like to welcome back Santa Claus. Santa, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really well, Michael, and how's everything down in the south?
You know, not too bad. You know, weather's actually been mild, especially when I think what you and Mrs. Claus and the elves and the reindeer, what you deal with every day up there in the far north. But I just want to thank you for your time. So, Santa, real fast, do you have time for a couple of questions?
I sure do.
Like I said, our four-state kids came up with these wonderful questions. Like Tristan, are the reindeer ready to fly all night to our house? That's what Tristan asked.
Well, they've been out exercising the last few weeks, running and flying and just getting ready to go. But this week they'll rest up, so they'll be ready to go on Christmas Eve. And they will be ready to make it to your house.
Sarah brings up a great question here. I think her favorite reindeer may be Rudolph. There's no offense to any of your others, Santa. But Sarah wants to know, what is Rudolph's favorite food?
Well, Rudolph, he really likes carrots. He eats a lot of those every day. But all of the reindeer also, they like candy canes, but we try to keep that to moderation. We don't give them a lot of them.
Hey, Santa, I want to ask you about a couple Christmas lists because Lily, she is in Neodesha, a little Blue Street Pride there writing in. And I was curious to know if you had gotten her letter yet.
Yeah, and some of the stuff that's on her list is some of Mrs. Claus's favorites. It really is. She would like a Barbie dream camper, a bunny rabbit.
I want to just go right up the road from Neodesha because Kara in Chanute, she actually came up with a nice Christmas list as well.
She sure did. Kara was wanting a Blue Mountain bike, a Nintendo Switch, and an IHOP gift card.
And one more for you, Santa, if you've got the time. In Parsons, I was told the other day, and I hope it showed up, did Tristan's letter get there yet?
Yes, it did. Well, he's got Boss Baby movie, Thanos gloves, and board games to play with his cousins.
That's looking out for other people right there, Tristan. That is awesome. I got just a couple more for you, and I'm going to go to Pittsburg for these last two.
All righty.
I'd like to start with Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie. She's wanting a baby that looks real, baby clothes, and baby toys.
That's a great idea, Maddie. And actually, since we're in Pittsburgh, how about Addie?
Yeah, and Addie's looking for an iPad, a look real baby, and an iPhone.
So I think maybe what they have in mind right there is that Addie can bust out the electronics and get some pictures of Maddie while she's getting the baby ready. Well, Santa, I want to thank you once again.
Well, thank you, Michael, and I just want to wish you and all the staff there at the TV station a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
A Merry Christmas to you, Santa. Now, I tell you what, I know you get so many letters and lists. Have you back on again?
You bet.
Yes!
Anytime, anytime.
Working out perfectly. All right, Santa, thank you so much for joining us direct from the North Pole, and we'll have more KOAM Morning News for you right after this.
Well, there was a bumper crop of mistletoe in the United Kingdom this year, but farmers are having to kiss sales goodbye as COVID threatens the ancient tradition. CBS's Tina Krause reports from London, England.
Harvesting mistletoe is an annual tradition for British farmer Mark Adams.
So as we had a very sunny summer and late autumn, the berries are all pearl white and perfect.
But despite that, mistletoe sales in the UK are down as much as 75%. Have you kissed under the mistletoe?
Oh, yeah.
Will you be this year?
Maybe not.
With the mask on.
Yeah, exactly. Tends to take the romance away from it.
Coronavirus has made kissing a health hazard, and with festive social gatherings banned, the mistletoe trade is taking a hit.
A lot of mistletoe goes for winter weddings, like my business would usually supply 200 to 300 weddings with mistletoe. This year it's just been decimated.
22. Crowds have packed the town of Worcester for a yearly mistletoe auction since Victorian times, but this year COVID called it off.
Well, it's rather sad, really. I've been doing it since 1977.
Sarah Sharkey is determined to keep the tradition going during the pandemic with mistletoe by post.
People have been sending them to weddings that they haven't been able to go to, and to grandparents and parents that they maybe haven't been able to see.
The show must go on.
Amir says he won't let COVID spoil his plans.
And I might propose to her under the mistletoe this year.
Sealing the deal with a kiss, even in 2020. Tina Krause, CBS News, London.
Well, kissing under the mistletoe is an ancient tradition, but its most current form likely dates back to Victorian servants who decreed a man could ask for a kiss from a woman who was standing under mistletoe, and to refuse him was bad luck. Now I don't blame you. Well, while mistletoe may be struggling, the seaweed industry is actually booming. The product made from marine algae is selling rapidly across the country, especially on the East Coast. One company in Maine says it doubled its harvest this year after moving into the online and retail sector. The pandemic also leading to more experimental cooking at home. Another company in Maine expects to harvest more than 3 times the state's entire farm-raised seaweed total from last year. Seaweed is also often used in sushi, salads, and smoothies, and contains key benefits for a healthy immune system. So it's not a bad thing to go after. Meanwhile, boat sales are on the rise too, as maybe people are looking for more seaweed. But as one Florida firm tracking new and used boat sales said, thousands were buying boats for the first time, reversing a trend in shrinking new boat owner numbers. Now, boat ownership among first-time buyers comprised 31% of sales through September, making up the majority of 2020's increase. Now, the National Marine Manufacturers Association said powerboat retail sales in October were up 18% compared to September and up 11% year to date. About 310,000 new boats are expected to be sold by the end of this year. We'll be right back with more, but first, let's check out those market prices before the opening bell. Well, as Santa warms up the sleigh and we rush to do any last-minute holiday shopping, not everyone has an easy time making sure that there are presents under the tree, let alone food on the table. Now, this would be the case for families living at Washington Family Hope Center, but fortunately, they're surrounding themselves with a whole lot of love.
Women are not allowed to do whatever they want, so they have to follow the tradition. You are not free. You don't have that freedom.
That's what Marcella Pio says life is like in the Republic of Congo, and what drove her to come to the United States.
I moved here, it's 3 years and I would say 6 months. I came to study, and I didn't have much time with my son, so I was working day through night, so it was kind of exhausting and I couldn't do it anymore. So I was looking for an apartment, and I got the chance to have a room here.
Here is the Washington Family Hope Center in downtown Joplin, which opened in June. As part of Water Gardens Ministries, it's a shelter for mothers and their children, and it's where Marcella and her son Akil have built a sense of community, not only with the staff members and other families, but with the community volunteers like those with Wellspring Church in Webb City.
Getting to know the families and investing in those relationships, we actually had a family from our church approach me and say, we need to do something to make sure that this Christmas is special for all of the families here, no different than any of us or any other year.
So they took all of the mothers holiday shopping. Little did Akil know that while he and his friends were busy playing games at home, their moms were busy helping Santa.
Some of the moms were looking for clothes, some of them were looking for electronics, some of them, all of them were really looking for toys, just to help make this Christmas special.
And at Water Gardens, everything we do is a reciprocal thing. We don't just give handouts, everything is earned. And so we were trying to think of ideas of how the moms could earn this shopping experience.
So the moms were given the task of decking the halls of their home with the holiday spirit.
For them to be able to take that and use that as their earn it, to be able to go shopping and buy gifts for their kids where they earn that. It's not just somebody handing them money and them taking that, but they're earning that money, they're earning that experience, and that provides dignity, which we feel like is very important.
Looking toward the future, Marcella is currently working to get into a nursing program. While she's grateful for what she and Akil have today, she looks forward to the day she can pay it forward.
Washington family, I know for sure that they will do more for more women, and I'm just praying that I will be able one day to help, like donate for the lady as the other ladies donated for me.
Well, tonight we'll be holding our first Feed the Four States telethon during our 9 p.m. broadcast on Fox 14. And viewers are going to be able to call in and make donations in support of local food pantries. And Rodney Rambo with Crosslines Ministries will be part of the broadcast to discuss the need this winter. Again, you can take part in that with us tonight at 9 o'clock right here on Fox 14. Michael, what's it looking like outside?
Greatly appreciate that, Jesse. Looking forward to tonight at 9. Again, what we've been able to accomplish over at Fox 14 with Feed the Four States. Truly unbelievable, and a special thank you to all of you who are going to donate in advance from all of us here at KOAM and Fox 14. Now, as we transition to what's a beautiful morning outside, forgive me for stepping away real fast. You just need to flip and pop open another sky camera here because we are clear and clean on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. There's a Freeman Health System sky camera. Temperatures for our first morning of winter, we'll take it. 42 degrees, nothing to complain about that. 37 in Pittsburg, 35 in Neodesha. Carthage and Joplin continually are top of the board leaders right there. Carthage still hanging on to 41. We'll see the wind shift back and forth eventually, waffle like they're doing right there. Eventually from the southwest, feed us warmer temperatures for not only today, but also tomorrow as well. As a matter of fact, we're going to see some high 50s today, if not a 60 down to the south. And things are going to even get better here by the time we get into Tuesday. Beautiful clear night. If you want to go out and look at the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, that's going to be probably best bet between 6 and 7 right there. And then as we work into Tuesday, let's just throw up some 60s up on the board. Developments on Wednesday with the beginning of a cold front and moisture that develops out to the west and north of us. As it comes through, looking at it staying mainly as rain according to most of the models right now. We may squeeze some snowflakes out of it, however. But with our ground being pretty warm to begin winter here on Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday morning, don't think any of it should stick, but that's what we'll consistently talk about this week are those travel conditions for Christmas Eve. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Top congressional negotiators have reached a deal on a close to a $900 billion COVID economic relief package. The agreement includes $300 a week and extended unemployment benefits, and for many Americans, a stimulus check of $600. There are also new subsidies for hard-hit businesses and funding for schools, healthcare providers, and renters facing eviction. Americans are set to begin receiving Moderna's coronavirus vaccine today. Frontline healthcare workers and nursing home residents are expected to get the early round of injections, along with the vaccine from Pfizer. Tiger Woods and his 11-year-old Charlie hit the green in Orlando wearing that iconic red that Tiger has made popular over the years. PGA Tour posted video of the duo. Let's check in with Michael for a final look.
First day of winter bringing us temperatures up into the high 50s with a whole bunch of sunshine later on today, and even warmer on Tuesdays. We'll push up into the low to mid 60s. Cold front begins Wednesday, late morning, afternoon. Drops us down for what's going to be a chilly Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Endangered orangutans are brought out of Thailand and are one step closer to being returned to their natural habitat in western Indonesia. An Indonesian conservation agency welcomed Ong Eng and Natalie in Sumatra. The pair were legally taken near the Thailand-Malaysia border in 2017 and kept at a breeding center for 3 years in southwestern Thailand. Primates will be given medical checkups, including coronavirus tests, and their behaviors studied before being released into a central Sumatra sanctuary.
All right, I want to thank you all for letting us put the good in your morning. We will be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.